When you're not where you want to be as a trader, it's easy to think that you're missing out, right? Missing out on opportunities, missing out on your destiny, whatever, fill in the blank. But the truth is, you're not missing out. If you were supposed to be where you think you're supposed to be, you would be there. Do you realize that almost, almost all the suffering we experience as human beings is all happening in here? It doesn't even exist. It's a bunch of scenarios that we've made up in our minds. A bunch of realities we're living in here. When none of that pain, none of that whatever is currently happening. And see, we live life in here as traders and think that because we don't see what we see here, we don't see what we see on YouTube, on Instagram, social media, for that reason we're missing out. For that reason we lack something. We lack the right setup, the right strategy, the right person to watch, the right thing to believe about ourselves. All things work together for our good, for those who love God and are called according to his purpose. You're not missing out as a trader. So many times I've thought I've missed out, or I'm missing out because someone is where I want to be. And that is I don't know, I think that's so cliche. They're where I want to be. I'm so glad that is like completely gone. You see, God helps you grow. Especially when you yield your trading business to him. He helps you grow. He helps you renew your perspective, renew your mind, like Romans 12 verse 2. Because so many of us are conformed to the patterns of this world, the standards of this world, the norms of this world, how the world says things should go. And we have replaced kingdom thinking with worldly thinking. It's not like God said, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. God don't make mistakes. And as humans, we feel sometimes that God has made a mistake. As crazy as it seems, our brain, like I said again, makes all these scenarios. We're like, bro, if I did that, I could have been here. If that went good. And we start to like blame ourselves and go through all the pain in here. When that didn't even happen, bro. If you knew what was better, you would have done it. You did 100% of what you could do. Growth comes in when you acknowledge that fact, that you did 100% of what you could do. And that releases you of thinking that, oh, I messed up and I will never get to where I want to get to. And I will never be this person. And I will never achieve my goals and my dreams and my objectives. And I will never live this life. I will never and the brain just feeds and it just keeps coming, and you just keep going a cycle. Like you climbing stairs of I would never. What if? Can we just focus on what is? And that is the only reality, bro. What ifs don't exist. That's why they're called what if. They don't exist. But because we human beings are control freaks, we like to act like what ifs exist. And we like to play what if scenarios in our minds to, for some reason, I guess, bring us peace or comfort or hope. But all it does is just, it hurts us even more. Because we think of what we could have done better. There's nothing wrong with thinking of what you could have done better. There's everything wrong with blaming yourself, beating yourself up, putting yourself down for the mistakes you made. Growth only comes through mistakes. It doesn't come through perfection. If that was the case, there's no such thing as growth if you're perfect. Growth comes through trial and error, comes through taking losses and learning, going back to the drawing board, analyzing and getting back up. You take another loss, you learn. And every loss you take, you get closer to your take profit. You get closer to being consistently profitable. You get closer to living out your purpose. You have to go through the low times in order to get to the heights. Like Paul says, I have experienced the low parts of life, and I've also experienced all the abundance of life. And I know that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I've been learning this lately, man. If you want to be that person that you see in your mind, successful, fulfilled, impactful, influential, helping people, just wealthy and abundant, if that's your goal and that's where you want to be and that's what you want to do, I'm learning that you first have to experience what it's like not to be that. You first have to experience the low parts of life, like Paul says, so that you know what it is to get there. That's very interesting. That's very interesting. All the great stories that we hear of people who have succeeded and are doing great things, they know how it felt to be at the lowest. That is most of their stories. Matter of fact, that is the story. And now they can speak on that to how they are now this person. Because the process required them to go low before they go high. You're going to have to go low before you go high. You're going to have to experience a whole lot of losses before you can experience a whole lot of wins. You're going to have to experience a lot of crying and anger and pride and ego. Like, you're going to feel all these things as part of the process so you know what not to do next time. How would you know? Like, I heard this guy say, how can you be wise if you're not first foolish? How can you know what is right if you've not done what is wrong? Right? There has to be like a compass, whatever, that lets you know what is what. How can you know what wealth and prosperity and abundance feels like if you do not know how having nothing feels like? How can you cherish? Hear this, because so many people, right, are experiencing wealth and abundance, but do not cherish it. They take it like it's nothing. Because some of them did not experience the low parts. And most people will not cherish something until it's gone. But for those who did not have it, they know to cherish it when it comes. When you're faithful with little, you'll be faithful with much. So you're not missing out on anything. You are right where you need to be. Right here. I am right where I need to be, recording this video right now, talking to you. And you're right where you need to be, watching me right now. That's where you're supposed to be. If you were supposed to be somewhere else, I'm pretty sure you will be there. And God cannot make mistakes. So if you've entrusted your trade and your life, everything of you, every part of you, into God's hands to guide you, to show you the way, then you're in good hands. It may not feel like it sometimes, because we don't know all things. But when we let go of control and start to walk by faith, that is, I don't feel it, but I still decide to trust. I don't see it, but I want to perceive it. Things start to change. Keep going. Don't stop. You got to finish what you started. That's it. There's no other way. Finish what you started. That's it. I appreciate you for watching this video. My name is Jay Char, and this is Trading with Jay Char. Live life. Okay, so this Friday, whatever Friday that's coming up next, I am hosting what I call the Kingdom Traders Zoom call. This is a Zoom call that is focused on the trader not the trade. The person who's in the markets, pressing the buttons, making the decisions. What do they believe about themselves that is affecting them as a trader? That is what makes or breaks your business. And in this Zoom call, it's all about understanding what God is teaching you through the process, especially as kingdom traders who are not just doing this just to do it. We are doing this to advance the kingdom of God. So if this is something you're interested in, an environment to help you see yourself as who God sees you and apply that into the markets, I want to invite you to show up this Friday. Register. The link is in the description, and I will see you on our next call.